we look good on the outside. We're this shell, everything, we want to make sure we look good on Instagram and Facebook. Everything's pretty. And the reality is that we're not okay on the inside.
And sometimes, like that computer, we need a reboot as well. And you may. Before we get started, have you gotten my free ebook, 5 Powerful Steps to Win Your Morning? Go to thesuccess.life/5 Powerful Steps. This ebook has 5 powerful strategies you can implement right away to help you have more energy, clarity, and focus, and accomplish more in less time. Go to thesuccess.life/5 Powerful Steps and get your copy today. Welcome to the Intentional Leadership Podcast. This podcast will help you break through the barriers holding you back from the true life of significance you are meant to live. I'm your host, Janelle Bruland, and I invite you to join me each month as I share leadership lessons and specific strategies to transform your leadership, crush your goals, and love your life. As a high-achieving entrepreneur, there was a time when I was overwhelmed doing all of the things and found myself overworked and overcommitted. Through the power of intention, I learned how to shift my mindset and create success habits to achieve a healthy work-life balance and true joy in my life. Now I'm here to help you do the same. Don't just be the CEO of your business, be the CEO of your life. Let's get started. Welcome to the Intentional Leadership Podcast. On today's episode, we're super excited to talk with you about a really important topic, and that is a sabbatical.
Yeah, many of you have asked, how did you do it? What is it? And I can't do it. And so what we want to do is share how we can do it. It's so important with a sabbatical, or to take the time and just stop. We're so busy running, and taking on more tasks that we're wearing ourselves out.
Right, that's so true. And we want to talk to you today about the importance of taking an intentional break. And so let's start this way. Picture this. You're wanting to work on this new exciting project. You're ready to go. You get up in the morning, excited about starting your day, and you go over to your desk, you sit down, and your computer is not working. And this is so frustrating when this happens. You know how frustrated I get. So I'm just getting this little circle thing going around and around. And no matter what I do, the computer's just not responsive. It's sluggish. It's just not working properly. So you said, hey, you need to just shut it down, Janelle. So I did completely shut the computer down and let it rest and then rebooted it. And guess what? The computer worked just fine. So why am I telling this?
Well, because so many of us we look good on the outside. We're this shell, everything, we want to make sure we look good on Instagram and Facebook. Everything's pretty. And the reality is that we're not okay on the inside. And
sometimes, like that computer, we need a reboot as well. Right. And you may not even realize it until you get, like my computer, completely bogged down, not working properly, not being productive. So that can happen.
Well, we had a client in our mastermind who we met with him. He just didn't look well. He looked trepid. I mean, almost yellow. I don't know. It was just, he didn't look himself. And he didn't have the same energy. He was sluggish. And we commented about it. And a week later, maybe a few days later, after our meeting, we get a call, and it was complete panic.
Right.
He had a health scare, and a big one. He happened to go to the doctor, and it was a preventative test. It was a CT scan for the heart, for checking for plaque. And he had just happened to have it done because he wanted to work on his health. And they found that his heart was blocked.
Right.
And they put him in the very next day. So he had a big scare.
Right. And it could have been, what did you say, the widowmaker?
The widowmaker, yeah.
Yeah, that it could have been that. And had he not gone in for this scan, he likely could have been gone. And
he was close, because we could tell his color had completely changed from our meeting with him to the next. So it was close.
Right. And this is a client, and you can probably relate to this too, and I know we've been there, that you've got a lot going on in your business. I mean, at this particular time, his business was going through a transition, And he kept saying, I need to take a break. I'm looking forward to taking a break. I think we talked about that for over 6 months, but he continued to work more and more. I think he was putting in 70 to 80 hours, and he said it. He said, I'm working way too much. Every time we got together, and he took this little pause with us, and we'd have a great coaching session, and he was not able, for some reason, to take that extended break until he had this health scare.
Right.
And then everything just dramatically changed. It took for our client this health scare where he could have been gone, and he realized, oh my word, I have put so much focus and energy into my work. That has been my number one priority. And I just kept thinking I would get through this busy phase and then be able to take this extended time off. And instead, a health issue forced him to take this extended time off. So we don't want that happening to you, and burnout is so prevalent in today's society.
Right. And I think the key was, I'll do it later.
Right.
When I get through this project, when I sell my business, we don't know when that is, and that when is the scary part.
Right.
And it's the unknown, and without a health scare, without just, so we just need to be intentional with taking that time and that sabbatical.
Right, to rest and to refocus and to recharge, and it makes such a difference. So if this is resonating with you and you think, yeah, that's me, I'm putting in a lot of hours, I keep saying I'm going to take some extensive time off where I completely unplug, but you're not doing it, let's talk about some signs of that you may really need to do this now and not put it off any farther.
Right. Well, the first one is work your life. I think that we go to work, we identify with it, and then we come home and we think about work, and it's all consuming.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, that's true. And that's not good. Another is coming home at the end of your workday and just having nothing left. Do you get home after your workday is done, and are you just exhausted and depleted? It's called sunset fatigue, where you have worked all day, you put all your energy there, and then you get home and you have nothing left for either yourself and some rejuvenation time, or for your family, your spouse, your children. You just have nothing left. That's a sign.
Yeah. Are you getting more irritated, annoyed, frustrated at the simple things? The computer reboot, is it putting you over the edge? Do you need to plug in the phone and and turn it off so that it's just allowed to reboot too? So kind of follow the same rules. Turn your phone off at night, turn yourself off at night.
Right. And do you find that your temper's flaring easily, where usually you're a calm person, you can handle things as they come, but do you find just the little things just make you just snap off? Maybe have you bit somebody's head off lately? That's a sign.
Yeah. And are you worried more? Do the little things worry you? Do you spend time at night stewing about it, or are you worried about your employees or that client? Are you sitting there just constantly worrying about things that usually don't worry you?
Right, right. Another question for you to ask yourself to let you know whether you really need to take this extended break right now is, do you find that you're not functioning properly, that you're not as productive as you typically are? Do you feel like you don't get done what you usually get done?
Yeah, no, that's good. I think that's important. So what can we do? What does sabbatical mean? And kind of let's go into that.
Well, that's good. When I started doing research on this, because it made such a profound difference in my life to take a sabbatical, and while I was on my sabbatical, and in the last 2 years ago, I actually took a 1-year sabbatical, which was incredible, and it took a lot of time to build up to that length of a sabbatical, but I'll tell you, it was an amazing time, and I did a lot of research, a lot of reading on rest, and on the sabbatical and the reason to do it, the purpose for it. And what I learned is that the word sabbatical actually comes from Sabbath. From Sabbath. I didn't realize that, which is a day of rest, right? And so I think seeing that, I thought that just makes so much sense, because God just created a wonderful example for us in that in doing all of creation for 6 days, He took a rest at the end. He took an intentional break, and he rested from his labors, and he found that everything was very good. And he sets this example for us and really calls each of us to be resting.
Right.
It's really important. So that's where it came from.
And so many of us aren't even resting on Sunday, on the Sabbath.
That's true. Or Saturday, or even a day a week. Right.
One day a week, whatever that is. We're not resting one day a week, let alone an extended period.
Right.
And so I think it's important for us, especially business entrepreneurs, to make sure to set the team up for success so that you can do that and step away.
Right, exactly. So let me share a story of how this came about for me and my business now several years ago that I incorporated a sabbatical in my own life. I was really finding in a time of tremendous growth in my business. I had a great team that was helping me accomplish the work in my life. And I actually had one of my executive team members who was just not taking a break himself. And he just worked 24/7. He was never really taking a vacation. And even when he would take time off with his family, he was always available and always telling his team that he was available. And I realized as I looked at this situation that I was doing some of this too. Because I was thinking, Guy, why won't he take a break? And in some ways I thought, wow, he's got incredible ownership in the company. He really cares about it. He knows the importance that he brings to the team. But I realized that my team could always knew that they could get a hold of me as well, that I was available to them. And I realized that it actually wasn't setting a good example there, that I needed to show the team that I would take time and unplug and trust them with running the business and taking care of the aspects that I normally took care of. And then I gave them permission to do the same. So we really started meeting about it, and we talked about why it was so important to take breaks, because this particular manager of mine, extremely talented manager, just those symptoms like we were talking about, he was getting so crabby. He wasn't as productive, his fuse was short, and he just wasn't himself. So I remember when we sat down and I said, okay, I'm going to have you take an unplugged vacation because you're not good to anybody else the way that you are right now. And I want you to trust that I will step in for you and your team's going to handle this. And we actually sent him and his wife to Hawaii, and they took this break, completely unplugged from the business. In fact, I took his business phone. He couldn't have it. And he really did it, and he came back just a completely new person. So after he did this, and this was just for a 10-day period of time, but truly unplugged, then I realized the importance of me doing it on a regular basis too. And just examining it, I saw that, wow, I'm myself not feeling as productive, not having my usual energy, and I need to be doing this too.
Right. I think we forgot to tell you, he bought a burner phone and he was texting us anyway.
No, you're completely making that up right now. Yeah, that's not true.
No, but it did remind me though, that is not true, but at the bank, we were required every year to take 10 days off. And it wasn't because at the time it was annoying, because you have a client, they have needs, you wanted to work, you just wanted to get it done, and plus they would, at the end of the year they'd give you your money back, they'd pay you out your PTO because you couldn't carry it over. And so it was always kind of fun to do that. But the reason they did it was for security.
Oh, interesting.
And it was so that you couldn't do something, behind the scenes to manipulate the loan, to manipulate deposits, the system. You couldn't game the system because the system doesn't work. You can't game it if you're not around.
Right.
And it's the same thing with the sabbatical. So they should, just taking that time off, forcing your employees to take that time off, can also open up anything that might just not be working in the way it should be to expose that a little bit.
Right. That's a good point.
So
I know that this is not an easy topic, and if you feel like, wow, there's just no way that I can do this right now, we want you to really understand the importance of taking the sabbatical. You saw the warning signs that we talked about, and we talked about one of our clients having a health issue. There is so much issue with burnout right now, especially in entrepreneurs, and just not able to shut it off, that, my friend, it's just simply not worth it. You don't want to put yourself in that place, because the recovery time then, if you are burned out or you're on the edge of burnout, is going to take so much longer to actually get yourself back.
Right.
So taking care of yourself first makes such a difference. And you know that you've heard me say this over and over again, you're not any good to anybody else if you're not taking care of yourself. And so this really comes with needing to take this time, this break that's
Right.
unplugged.
So what we're going to talk about in this series are, what, 3-4 things? I can't remember exactly, but
Right.
the first one we're going to talk about is, how you took the sabbatical.
Yes.
We'll go into detail.
Right.
And what that looks like. What's the second thing?
So I'm going to actually give you a plan. We're going to talk
Oh.
about how you can plan out your own sabbatical step by step, how you can do that. And then really talking about rest versus play, because a lot of people think, oh, well, what am I going to do on my sabbatical? If I'm going to take, let's say, 30 days, you're going to take a month away from your business. What are you even going to do? And we're going to talk about rest versus play. It doesn't mean that you're going to lay around and eat bonbons. You can do those things that you find that you don't have enough time for right now, those active things, getting out and hiking or biking or spending more time with family, maybe doing a project that you've been looking forward to doing around the house that you just haven't had the time for. Those kind of things, that you can look at those things that you love and incorporate them in there.
Right. So
Yeah.
I was thinking we could watch the Barbie movie. We can watch Oppenheimer, and maybe fly and watch Messi play soccer in the MLS now that he's there.
Well, there you go. There you
So-
go. So it's so important to take a sabbatical, and this is really a time where you take a break from your business, and when you take this time to rest and rejuvenate, then you come back refreshed like never before. It makes such a difference.
It does. And it worked in our life.
Right.
And we know it can work in yours, and you've asked for how to do it, and we're going to help.
Well, let's talk about what are some of the benefits when we've taken a sabbatical, and now we regularly take one every year for 30 days. And what are the benefits of coming back from that sabbatical? What have we seen that we can share?
Well, more energy
For sure.
and a sunburn.
Yeah, definitely. I have found that my creativity just soars. I think you may relate to this, that when you're getting tired, when you know you need a vacation, some extended time off, that you kind of lose your edge a little bit, and maybe you just can't think creatively anymore. You're typically such a visionary and strategist, and it's just not there. Wow, has that made a difference for me. When I actually take time away on a sabbatical, I've come back with just new creativity.
Yeah, creating that space for the creativity, and when you come back, you see things in a fresh new light.
Right.
And so something that was going well may not actually be going that well as or it may be going better than you thought. So it really opens up your eyes as well.
Right. I think that one of the things that's really been a benefit, as we've seen in our business, is when you actually step away as the CEO of your company, it really allows your team to step up, and it's so good for them. It shows who the leaders are on your team. It gives them this extra feeling of responsibility, and it's wonderful. It's building toward that company that can self-manage without you there, so that you can be really working on the vision and strategy of the company and letting your team members do their thing. It just shows them what they can do.
Yeah, and they want that.
Right.
They thrive. They're happy when you're gone for more than one reason. But they love to be able to prove to you that they're capable.
Right, right. And certainly it's a health benefit. I mean, it's shown statistically that when you are taking the proper time to have good rest, good food, really just having this time to refresh, that you're going to be a healthier person. So it's better for your heart, for just your overall immune system improves. It just makes such a difference in your health. That's a huge benefit.
Right. I think that's probably the biggest benefit.
Right.
Is the health.
Right.
So-
It's very important
And
to.
it's the one you can't see necessarily.
Right, Right.
So
Yeah.
taking that sabbatical is important.
Makes all the difference. So taking a sabbatical, so important, and it's beneficial to you, it's beneficial to your team, to your family, that you are only improving yourself when you take that extended break.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us for this session, and we look forward to talking more about a sabbatical and how to do it. And check out our blog on the sabbatical series, because if you'd rather read or like to do that in addition, there's lots of detail there as well.
Right. We
And
look forward to doing this and
Yeah.
showing you how you can and why you should have a sabbatical.
Definitely. And as always, we have a leader's guide with just some questions that you can ask yourself of, is it time for you to really take this break? So we'll have this to review. It's a great thing for you to do on your own. It'd be awesome to do with a spouse or with your team. And yes, I think you should plan a sabbatical.
Do it.
Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today on the Intentional Leadership Podcast, where you will learn how to transform your leadership, crush your goals, and love your life. Each episode, I will teach you something to take your life and leadership to the next level. Then at the end, I will challenge you to take action on what you have learned. If you're enjoying this podcast, will you please take a moment to leave a positive review? This helps get the message out to impact as many people as possible. And please subscribe to this podcast. That way the episodes will drop each time a new one comes out. Remember, when you grow as a leader, your team will grow and your company will grow. You can transform your leadership, crush your goals, and love your life. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Intentional Leadership Podcast. This podcast will help you break through the barriers holding you back from the true life of significance you are meant to live. I'm your host, Janelle Ruland, and I invite you to join me each month as I share leadership lessons and specific strategies to transform your leadership, crush your goals, and love your life. As a high-achieving entrepreneur, there was a time when I was overwhelmed doing all the things, and I found myself overworked and overcommitted. Through the power of intention, I learned how to shift my mindset and create success habits to achieve a healthy work-life balance and true joy in my life. Now I am here to help you do the same. Don't just be the CEO of your business, be the CEO of your life. Let's get started. Thank you for joining the Intentional Leadership Podcast. Each episode, I teach you to take something in your life and leadership to the next level. Then at the end, I will challenge you to take action on what you have learned. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment to leave a positive review. This helps get the message out to impact as many people as possible. And I encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. That way the episodes will drop each time a new one comes out. Remember, when you grow as a leader, your team will grow and your company will grow. You can transform your leadership, crush your goals, and love your life.